As you can see, we're talking about Lisa Johnson. Gonna have her family on. I ran across a story a couple of weeks ago from Patricia Harrison, a friend on Facebook, that was talking about my niece did not commit suicide; she was murdered. So I read the story, and you can find the story on my page. So I'm gonna bring her on. I have the family of Lisa Johnson on. Miss Pat, unfortunately, she's gonna be by phone, so I'm gonna let her tell her part. Then I'm gonna bring the family in, and we're trying to get help from the police department to reopen this case. It's out of Seattle, Washington, King County, Washington. And let me bring Miss Pat in. Miss Pat, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kurt Doug. I really appreciate you having us on tonight. It's such an honor and a privilege to have a Facebook friend that's reaching out and going beyond the call of duty. And we certainly appreciate, because you don't have to do this. But all that being said, though, I just want to reflect. I just can't sleep at night thinking about what has happened to my niece. It's almost like she was snatched from our lives. I don't know if everybody knows, but it was on a Tuesday night after work. She decided to go play bingo, and you don't expect anything to happen to you when you just go out to play bingo. But in the midst of this bingo, this turned her life and ours all around. Of course, she was found dead under a bridge a few days later, which put us in shock. But even more so is the fact that when the medical examiner from the King County, where they found her body, had reported it was a suicide to us, that just blew us away. A suicide? My niece would never, under any circumstances. She was too jovial. She was a happy-go-lucky person. She had a responsible job. And then to say that they were late in suicide, and his rationale was that, the police told them, it looked like suicide. So that caused us even to be more upset. And my brother had gone to Pierce County originally after she had been missing for 24 hours, and had reported it to Pierce County. And then after we had some discussion with those detectives, they had the audacity to say that, could it be possibly that she was just had a good time gambling and took all her money and decided, and when she lost all her money, then in turn she committed suicide.
Okay. So that's the story of what's going on. That's the reason why we're doing this broadcast tonight. I'm actually going to bring the parents in, and then I'm going to bring the brother and sister in also. Welcome to the show, Mr. and Mrs. Larry. Miss Harrison have said exactly how we became friends and stuff, and how I found out about the story. Introduce yourself to the audience, and tell them what have transpired throughout this whole situation with your daughter.
Okay, I'm Larry Johnson.
I'm Billy Johnson, her mom.
And like my sister said, on the 25th, she went to play bingo. And then my daughter, my twin daughter, Nisha, showed up, but she called me to let me know that she was sitting in the driveway on the 27th in the morning she was crying, saying Lisa didn't come home. So we called Pierce County and started a missing persons at 3 in the morning. And then from that point on, we were on the road going to the casinos, looking through the parking lot, looking in the casino halls for my daughter, my Anisha and I. And we didn't see her car, didn't see any signs of her, and we tried to think where she would be. And I notified my son and the rest of the family, and then my son caught a plane. He was here the next day, and from that point on, let me rephrase that. My son arrived on the day of her being reported by the Seattle Police that her body was found, which was the 29th. That's the date of my son arrived. And from that point on, we were all over Seattle and looking at the place where they found her, trying to find any kind of video, any kind of cameras, and of course, her car was nowhere to be found. After so much investigating by my son and myself and my daughter, a week or so later after the Pierce County, let me back up again. King County released her to the mortuary because we could not view her at the mortuary, at the medical examiners. We could not view her there. So we had to view her at the mortuary. We got the bag with the items that were found at the scene, and we turned those over to the Pierce County without opening so that they could dust for any kind of fingerprints or whatever, and try to do any kind of recovery of her phone information, which we were not able to. So we even contacted the phone company and tried to get them to retrieve any messages, because I know I left voice messages, my daughter left voice messages, the whole family left voice messages, and none of them showed up in her voice message on her phone.
So it's a possibility someone had access to her voice message and deleted them.
That's possible, yes.
Okay. I'm going to bring your son and your daughter in also, because I know both of them really have done a lot of investigation that the police did not do themselves, and yes. I'm going to bring them in. Welcome to the show, Larry and Nisha.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing
Thank you.
Good. So your dad was just telling us about y'all taking the property to the sheriff's office to have them to examine them, and they left voice message that wasn't on her phone anymore. And go ahead.
Again, my name is Nisha. Can you guys hear me right? Can you hear me okay now? My name is Lisa Johnson. I'm a twin sister. Yes.
Talk up, baby.
Yes, it's true. Things were released to us. But before we did
talk up.
Before, can you hear me? Okay. Before we released, gave them the phone. Remember, we had gone on the phone to look for the hostess.
Volume, Nisha. Volume. Please. Volume.
Pull your card a little bit closer to your mouth.
Do you have a mic on you?
Is there a mic on there?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Be close to the laptop.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit better. Okay. Try taking your earphones out, and maybe that'll work. I'm
Take the
glad.
earphones out of the computer.
Can you hear me now?
It's a little bit better.
That's a little better? Okay.
Yes.
So, I guess I'll start on my side of the story. Yes, I did. I was in a parking lot at my parents' home, 3 o'clock on the 27th, and I asked them if they said never came home. We found out on the 29th that her body was found. My research with my dad before my brother had landed on the day we thought she was dead, passed away, was that we went on computers and we researched the company which she goes through for service, and that's where it showed there were no voicemails, no messages. It was a week later after they found her, for the acquisition of her items from the mortuary home, or released it to Pierce County. We got a voicemail from a tenant at the parking garage. I don't know if you want to name from there but that's how, again, it was the mobile company when we went under the search where we couldn't find the voicemails. They were on a phone, but they just weren't on the search browser on the page when you go through that certain mobile companies. But that was odd. I mean, there was just a space, blank space at that time.
So the cell phone, the voicemail had been deleted.
The icons weren't present. Weren't present, letting you know that there's a voicemail. But the voicemails, if you went to the voicemail servicing and directly dialed that, then the voicemails were all there and appeared.
Okay.
But looking at the phone surface itself, the icons were not visible. There were no text. There were no voicemail icons. There was nothing. It was like it had been wiped.
So someone basically listened to the voicemail and just didn't do it. And also, I read in a report, I believe Miss Pat told me that her money was taken out of her bank account, out of several ATMs. And the police didn't find that suspicious either.
I'll chime in. Again, that's where I did some research with my father. We were able to access her account, and we saw there were certain transactions happened. And I thought that was very odd because we looked at the transactions and we added them up, and it shows that her account will be wiped out. She was a responsible person, and there was a certain amount that she would not touch. If I could say, because Rick was going to be doing, she would never touch that amount. And that amount, again, after seeing all those transactions, shows the account was wiped clean, and that was not my sister. She would not like that account clean. She would have left that rent money in our account, or her account. So,
okay.
That was kind of suspicious there, too.
And what happened when the parking garage called to I know the story, but I would like for y'all to talk about what happened when the parking garage called and left the message and everything.
All right, one more. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One more. All right, we got the phone back. Again, we were trying to preserve it for the police, but while we were messing with it, with preserving a voicemail came in onto the phone. So the caller assumed that she was still alive because at that time her vehicle had been missing for like a week. So they left a message saying, "Hey, Miss Johnson, your vehicle is in our garage. Would you we contact you to let you know if you do not pick it up by so and so time, we will have it towed. What are your intentions? What do you want to do with the vehicle?" And again, I was just going through the phone, just as coincidence, trying to figure out if we can get anything out of the phone that help with the investigation, and then came across that voicemail that came that Sunday. Once we got it, which is like 9 o'clock at night, we called King County Police or Seattle Police, let them know, hey, I just got a message saying my sister's car, because we've been looking for the car for almost 8 days, trying to locate the car.
Okay.
I just got the tip that the car may be in this garage. Can you please send a patrol unit down to go investigate? It's several phone calls. They got in. Finally, about 2 hours later, verified it was the vehicle that we've been looking for, because I've got people all over the state of Washington looking for this vehicle. They took the vehicle into their forensic room or their investigation room. They got it towed and took it there and told they would hold on to it, which they basically hold on to it for 2 days for 48 hours before they released it to a public auction or public impound yard before it went to the auction yard. While they had the car, they told us they were photographing it, so the assumption was they were doing a thorough investigation from top to bottom as far as forensics. No, we contacted the Pierce County detective that we've been working with and let him know, left several messages, said, hey, the car is up in King County's forensics lab. They want to know what you want to do with it next. They're willing to hold on to the car as a favor to the family and look through it to see what they can find. And at that time, we didn't know specific details on what they had found in the car. We just know they were supposed to be looking through it and taking photos of it. And our understanding was they were going to do a top to bottom investigation, which they did not. The car was released 48 hours. We got a phone call saying, hey, we've had your car. We're going to release it to a public impound yard. And at that point, the car becomes available for any Joe to touch it and manipulate anything. Because we still were uncertain what the police had done with it when they had it in their 48-hour window. They had it under their control before they released it to a public yard.
Okay. What type of condition was the car in when y'all picked it up?
That's the thing. We the first time we saw the car were through photos when it got to the auction yard. That whole, let's say, week, 2 weeks, when it got there on the 8th, 9th, 10th, we had not seen that vehicle. We did not see vehicles until, like, I want to say 5, 6 days later or 7 days later, when the bank and the repo man sent pictures to us to verify, hey, this is the car. And that's the first time we saw pictures they took when they were doing their duties, picking the car up from the garage and picking the car up from the police evidence room. Okay. My parents, my sister and my father didn't physically put hands on the vehicle and see the vehicle until y'all had the date. I don't have the date here, but it was some time before they actually got to touch the car.
No, okay.
And
So,
Go ahead. Dad,
are you going to speak about the damage, Nisha?
like I said, I see her car every morning when I wake up. So when we got the pictures from the banks and the repo guys' pictures, my brother says, I need to look at these. And he said, there's damage to her car. And I'm like, how can that be? Her car is in pristine condition. He showed me, and I'm like, then something wrong, because that should not be there. When I saw the car on the 25th, and I saw it on my car, it was in pristine condition. There was no damage to her car. I do know, we know that from the pictures there was some damage to the back window, damage on the right side.
Over the wheel well.
There was damage to the rear passenger window, and there was damage to the rear and forward right fenders.
Oh, okay.
Like it had brushed up against something or struck something.
Minor damage on the left mirror and the driver's front fender. Most of it was on the right, minor on the left. There was damage. And my concern was when we reported the car to King County or Seattle Police, why were we called saying that there was damage to the car?
Okay.
So,
did it look like she possibly had an accident, or did it look like someone could have broken into her car?
Well,
go ahead, Dad. Go ahead.
To me, the damage over the wheel well means that the car was struck by something, because it was a pretty good indentation, at least the size of a softball, and a bunch of scrapes, and the rear right passenger, the door that was broken into, broke the glass out. The door was something was wrong with the door, because it wouldn't open. No matter how much pressure you applied to open the door, you could not open that door, even using the remote locking mechanism of the car. So it was damaged to where with no. So, but once we got the car from the auction place, we noticed that there was a parking receipt in the car that the police should have discovered when they had the car in their possession. And the ticket was dated the 26th,
Okay.
which means her car was in the garage on the 26th and her body was found on the 29th. And it was almost 4 miles distance between where they found her and where her car was found. I don't think anybody in their right mind would walk 4 miles.
Well, she wasn't a walker. Now, I know it took me a while just to walk a mile by practicing for weeks. And she wasn't a walker, and she was heavy set. So how could she walk 4 miles? And I'd like to also say the bingo hall she was going to, well, we were told that they couldn't show us her going to that bingo hall, but they showed us another place that she was to go to. They said she went to. And I don't see why you couldn't show a parking lot, what's going on in a parking lot. They showed the second one to us that they said she was going to. And then they showed where she had left the parking lot. She was driving her car. That just really not understandable right there. Parking lots have cameras all the time.
Yeah, especially at a casino, they should have had cameras in the parking lot.
Yes.
So that's go ahead.
And like
You finish.
they were saying, they can't do this because of the inside, but that was outside. That was not inside.
She's talking about the first casino in bingo hall. They refused to give up any camera vantage points to the family because it would give up advantage points to the casino, basic security risk. So they did show us video footage of the parking lot from the second casino
that they said she went to.
Yeah, that was the last casino known location before the video footage of her that was recorded at the time was that casino. She basically went to a bingo hall, casino, and then to another casino. And we were only provided video footage of the second casino, the last casino that she went to.
Okay, now the receipt that was found in the car for the parking, do y'all still have that receipt? The date and time of it?
Yeah, you have the date and time.
Yes.
Okay. So basically, the reason why we're doing this show tonight is because, and I will hit on that also, because King County, as soon as they seen the body, they said it was a suicide. Now, the car was parked almost 4 miles away. The car made it to the parking garage on the 26th.
Mm-hmm.
And she supposedly walked 4 miles to jump off of a bridge. And
Yes.
that don't add up.
No.
Damage done to the car and some unexplained damage. So what was your dealing with the investigator? And if you know his name, definitely call it out, because we need
name drop. That we went to name drop.
I'm on here. I don't bite my tongue.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I
Well,
don't-
well, well.
I don't
Go
bite
ahead.
my tongue on here. So if you have his name, we could definitely call it out, and we will get in contact with his supervisor. That's up to you if you want to share it or not.
Well,
It's
I don't.
up to you.
I don't mind.
Well, what wouldn't you want us to say at this time that might
It's a,
mess with the investigation?
as for the investigation, we know it's been a poor investigation, and what I feel that we need is someone higher up to investigate this. And
Okay.
Here in Dallas, we have a community police review board here in Dallas. So, what we need to do, and the reason why that board is all set up for the police is not policing the police, if you know what I'm saying. So,
Oh, yes.
Well,
I thought he was
uh,
say something. Go
yeah,
ahead.
I don't mind sharing it.
It's up to you. It's up to you.
If it helps shine a light and get anything done, I want things done. Okay.
Because the thing is, someone else may be listening that actually have had some dealings with this particular investigator, and it would shine light on him. But if you don't want to drop the name, that's fine. You can tell me offline. I'll do it later.
That's okay. So the Seattle investigator that we have spoken to only on the phone, because we have never had a face-to-face with that person, is Sergeant Detective Nelson. Okay, it's with the Seattle Police. Now, he's only called us, I think, at all the communications for us, maybe 2 or 3 times. That was it. And I thought that I would have got a little bit more feedback, because we even went as far as paying for an additional autopsy out of the family pocket. Okay. And he looked at the same items that the medical examiner looked at, and then he wrote down his findings, and he took additional swabs and clippings that the medical examiner Seattle did not, because he says we have different criterias. So since it was labeled suicide, they don't do clippings of the nails and hair and certain swabs, because they marked it down as a suicide. If it was a homicide, they would have done a different autopsy.
Okay, who called it a suicide? And the reason
The first officer on the scene, which was a police officer, one of the actual officers,
Medical investigator.
not the medical investigator. This was the actual officer. He was the one, when he filled out the form, said that she looked homeless and it looks like a suicide. So then the medical examiner's investigator was there as well.
Okay.
That was one of the hardest things of all for me to hear, was that she was transit. She was put in a place at first I thought it was above the hill where she had went down. And one of the detectives told me that it was where transits were. I said, wait a minute. I thought this was a more, upper class, wealthier people where she was. Not that she was where transit was. And even on certain report, it got that they thought she was a transit. And I told him, she dressed well. She was a nice looking young lady, and she kept herself well. And she wore braids. They weren't braids, but they were the coil type hair, natural hair coils in her hair. And I told him, she just had natural hair. She didn't process her hair. Yes, we do. But she didn't do that. At the time, she had changed to wearing her natural hair in coils. And for them to tell us she was transit, and for somebody to give that assumption right off the bat, they were going that way, that she was just a throwaway. No, and I told him, no, she wasn't.
Now, let me ask you this. By any chance, do you know the first officer on the scene name?
Yeah, yeah. It was a patrol officer that responded to the scene from the phone call from the construction workers. Name is Sedaris.
It's on that in that bag.
If you don't
Standby.
have it now, you can send it to me later on, because what we're gonna do is, and I'm hoping everyone that is listening right now to the show, please share this with your friends. You never know who may hear this that can help this family out to get closure. So please share with anybody that you know. This is a real life event where it's just imagine if it was your loved one. You would want closure, because you know the things that been said about her by her appearance. They automatically assume that she was a transit, and
Yeah.
she wasn't. So that's why it's important. Go ahead.
Yeah. Again, when we were doing our investigation in the area where we found her, we did come across some other people in our investigation.
I can barely hear you.
Yeah, man, you got to speak up. We can barely hear anything you're saying.
That was the first thing that came out of one of the workers, construction workers' mouth was, "Oh, we thought she was homeless." And my dad, I got upset. My dad was like, "No, she was my daughter. She was missing." He said, "I'm sorry, I do apologize." So yeah, it's going back to what my mother had said. I didn't know if you were going to finish with your story, Dad. But, you know, we paid money for his autopsy, the second one. And we found out.
Yes, definitely finish talking about the medical examiner, because what people have to know is what he did once he got the body, whatever exam he was gonna do, and tell us what the results of that was.
Like I said, the second autopsy person, he did more work than the first. He was supposed to hand off the evidence to the officer, the detective, and I guess when it was handed off, from what I got from the family, says it's similar results, and so he told, from what I got from my dad, you can correct me, is that because it's the same findings, we will not do anything. We will not test the second evidence that you collected from the second autopsy.
So they refused to test everything?
Yeah,
Yes.
we thought that was very odd, and I got upset. I'm like, well, where is it? Is it from the way? Is it in the room? That's why we paid you. We wanted it tested because the first pathologist didn't treat it as a homicide, just treated it as a suicide, and didn't give a full claim. The second pathologist did more. We wanted it tested. Why isn't it being tested?
Okay. So let me make sure I'm saying this right, and correct me if I'm wrong. So y'all paid him out of pocket to do a second autopsy,
Yes.
and he refused to get him tested. What
No.
did he?
No. The pathologist that we paid handed the samples to the detective.
To the detective.
To the detective.
Detective Nelson.
Yes. And the detective said, since both pathologists said the same thing, there was no need to test the samples.
Why would he say it's the same thing if he haven't tested anything?
Well, that's what we said too.
They're saying there's no criminal act right now. There's no evidence of a criminal act, so there's no justification to use those man hours and resources to run that as a homicide investigation, since the medical conclusion has deemed it a suicide.
So basically, Detective Nelson is basically the judge of this, not finding out exactly what happened to Lisa. And that's the reason why I got involved with the story, because we need to share this story for the simple fact that officer should not be the one making that decision. Y'all paid this medical examiner to do the test. He should be the one to make that decision. He should have ran the test because you paid for it. And what is, by any chance, like I said, I don't bite my tongue. what is the medical examiner officer name? Because at this point, if y'all paid him and he didn't do what y'all paid him for, he need to be held accountable also.
He did the full homicide get up. It was when the you have to keep the chain of custody intact. So the medical examiner we paid did the full get up from A through Z, which we assumed the first examiner was going to do and did not do.
Okay.
Now where the chain, because these are all links and chains, in order to keep chain of custody, has to be either held with the state appointed pathologist or given to a official law officer. When it got transferred over to the law officer, that's when it stopped getting progress anymore, because the law officer took into account what the medical examiner's findings were, and then they made the call saying there is no underlying criminal act for them to investigate, so there was no justification to run the man hours to process those samples.
Okay. So, what you finna say something?
My concern is, and maybe I'm saying too much, it's like, well, we've been talking to Pierce and King, and I would think they would communicate with each other, saying that the family is noticing oddities in her timeline. So can this be tested? Why are they so quick to close the case?
Okay.
2 cases.
I don't understand why they wouldn't test it, that officer. If he was the one in charge to do it, Detective Nelson should have done his job and tested. The only thing come to my mind is they prefer to rule it a suicide to keep the murder rate down. That's the only thing I can think of. So that's why I've done some reaching out to some people, to a couple of senators up there, and Miss Jennifer from Senator Karen Kistler. She actually responded back pretty quick. I also called the governor office, and they kind of gave me the runaround. So I know Miss Jennifer been in contact with you, and she sent you some information. So definitely follow up with that, for we could try to get this ball on the road to get this case reopened. And as for the listeners, what we're asking for is to flood the mayor office. Reach out to her, Jeannie Durkin. Is that correct? Is that her name, Jennifer? Jeannie Durkin. That's the mayor of Seattle.
Oh yeah.
And reach out to her. Flood her emails, jenny.durkin@seattle.gov, or call our office. Call our office 206-684-4000 and demand that this case is reopened to get this family closure.
What was the number again, Curtis?
206-684-4000. Her email is jenny.durkin, DURKAN, @seattle.gov. And she also have a Twitter at Mayor Jenny. So let's flood her email, her Twitter, her office on tomorrow, and force them to reopen up this case to bring his family closure. Kyle over at the governor office, he seemed like he really wasn't interested. And I also pointed that out to Jennifer when she called me back, and she said she was going to give them a call. So anything else we left out that people need to know about Lisa? I've seen the picture of Lisa, and she seemed like she was pretty happy on the pictures I seen that was online. So to hear the story that Miss Pat wrote, it should be on my page. Take 10 minutes to read it. It's give you a lot more information than what I'm able to tell, and what it go into pretty much a lot of details. Now the problem is the car have damage to it. The car was found almost 4 miles away from her, and they immediately said it was a suicide. It just don't add up. Not somebody coming from a loving family and someone that had a pretty good life, and then a bank account had charges on it that they didn't recognize it until it was cleaned out. So uh, let's help this family. Send this out to everyone that you know, and let's help them to get closure. And just share it with all your friends, and ask your friends to reshare it, because we definitely need to put a spotlight on this. That that is the Seattle Police Department in King County, Washington. Um, Anything else y'all want to add, or you want to say?
She was found 50 miles up north from her home.
Yeah.
She was unaccounted for 3 days, 3 nights. Her car's been there from the 26th, hasn't moved from the garage, and her body was found on the 29th. That makes no sense for her to be that far away and to be unaccounted for. She kept in constant communication with her sister and her parents, and she no communication, no anything for 3 whole days, 3 whole nights
Yeah,
before she was Saturday morning.
yeah. One of the detectives told me she was just wandering around for three days.
Missing an adult missing is not a crime.
No, and
A
that's
child,
what they do. They just let people, if it was something wrong or somebody, they just let them be there for that long and don't help them to call or whatever. And also, she went down a toll. They showed us about the casino, her going in and then leaving that parking lot. But when they showed us another clip, it showed us going down a toll, and the only thing we could see was the license plate, and they said it was. I don't know that we verified that, but and you can only see, the headrest on those cars when somebody is driving forward, and you trying to look for the license plate, and even so, if it was, I was figuring they'd get a picture somewhere.
Well, most tolls, once you go through that booth,
That's what I thought.
if you have to stop and pay it, normally cameras up there. They
no,
have different cameras also. I don't know about up there, but I know in Texas they do.
That's what I thought too.
up,
That's what I thought.
up
Go
there,
ahead.
the tolls. All right, there is a snapshot. They have automatic tolls. It's a sensor. All there's automation when you're coming on or off. The cameras they have, they take pictures of the license plate, but the actual cameras are only accident cameras for a live, up-to-date feed for emergency responders and fire department, police department. They
Okay.
for direction, but they don't record. They don't have recording capabilities. The only recording capabilities are the speed cameras and the entry and exit cameras that show you coming on and off the toll. Excuse me. So they only take a picture of the license plate. They don't take a picture of the vehicle. So in order for them to have a clear shot of the whole vehicle, they actually have to be watching it live, real time, from the accident cams that are
Okay.
on that northbound stretch of road.
No. Okay.
But the point about the tow is, what it all boils down to, like my brother had said, she went to areas that she normally doesn't go to.
Pop up.
So that was very odd.
Bye, Nisha.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
No,
Sorry.
can't hear you.
It's odd because it's like, why would she go? Why would she go to Seattle? Why would she go on the tow? Those are just abnormalities in her timeline, and that's why we want this case open. This was not her process for normal.
Behavior.
Go to these places.
And I know one, we did give them the phone, the detective. They said they found a place that she was searching that she had no interest in. She don't visit this place, never been there that I knew of. And it was of no interest to her. And also, it was like something, some other people that I had heard this may have been their great interest. But like Nisha even told me, they never asked us to give them a list of names. they put it in a manner to her that did she have somebody that was mad at her or something like that? They didn't say, give us a list. Let us get these names and that name, you know, like that. And so there's still a list of names that and people they haven't contacted because it wasn't presented to her nor any of us in a matter that we have researched this for you. Give us a list. Let us know. And I try to express to the family that that never was presented to us. And I thought that was always done. Now, at one time, they did ask her about two of them that I know of,
Okay.
and that was all.
Yeah.
She's,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
just adding on. I know she was found in a rich neighborhood, 50 miles up north in a very rich neighborhood. There was Porsches, Ferraris, high end cars from the bridge. That's because it's a dog walk bridge, a big park. But the houses are high end. She didn't know
Rich.
anybody
Yeah.
that owns a Porsche or Ferrari or lives in that area. But it's a nice upper class area of Seattle. Is where she was found.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
And then I'm informed that below there's where Francis lived down there. You know, and she had a job, she had a family, she had a nice apartment, and she dressed well. What I I think it I don't know. I think it was a setup. Whoever was involved knew to go there, and this is what's going to be said because she's going to be there. You know.
My guess is that, I mean, we all wear jumper suits, okay, warm ups and stuff. That does not make you a homeless person if you wearing brown. Uh, the girls both have a brown warm up suit. Each one of them. They bought them at the, what was it, Walmart or whatever store they bought them at. So these are exercise clothes.
Everybody wears them.
Why would you say she's homeless wearing? Because she's wearing warm ups,
It was
and
clean.
her hair is natural. That's the African American way. You know, our women are beautiful people. If they want to go natural or no hair at all or curly hair, that is their option. And that
Okay.
does not mean that they are homeless people.
That's true. That's definitely true. And that's
Can you think of anything else for that we might know?
then here
What?
Else left out? I mean, just want to reopen and relook at. And like I said, just not view suicide as a homicide or a murder. Full report.
You have to talk up, baby.
We want a full report done. Like it's treated like a homicide or a murder. Because if
exactly.
you wander in that area, someone in that community is going to have footage. Where is that footage? Did you go to door to door? No, we had to go to door to doors and ask.
And the night when they said the car was there, they were having an opera. She had no interest in opera. We know that. And so it had to be some people around. Did they ask people? From the work that we had seen so far, we don't even know if they asked around or what. Since it would have been crowded at that time, because those are usually very crowded events.
Yeah. That's definitely heart wrenching that y'all are having to deal with this, and in today's society when you have other cases come out that they claim was suicide, but come to find out at least one of them wasn't, and that's what really got me about this suicide that they just automatically claim it was, and that's the reason why need to contact Sergeant Nelson supervisor and put pressure on him because he should have done the test. They should have done a rate kit. They should have clipped the nails, checked the hair, everything they needed to do, and it all should have been tested. So what we're gonna try to do, and hopefully everyone share this video to you never know who may be watching that may know something about it. So definitely share it with all your friends, and hopefully we can get some closure for the family and to know exactly what happened. Only thing they asking is them to do their job that our tax dollars are paying for, and that's what they're asking for. And if they do the test, okay, great. But when you have to do your job and just automatic assume just because of the way that she appears to be, it doesn't mean that that's that person. Because some days I wear sweats or shorts or something like that. So people may think anything about me. So, but at the same time, that don't give you the right to not do your job, regardless of who it is. You should still do your job to make sure that family have closure and don't just say, "Oh, we'll call it a suicide," and that's it. That's not the way you do it. So, um, I appreciate y'all for giving me this opportunity to come on here and let y'all tell y'all story of what's going on. And you can read more about the story if you Google Lisa Johnson out of King County, Washington. A couple of articles will come up, but not that many of them. So if you know someone, just share this. Maybe it'll get in the right hands of the right people to bring this family closure. And I really feel like the FBI should be involved because this officer did not do his job. And other than that,
Uh,
um,
I just want to mention that both my sister, Patricia, and I, no, yeah, we called the FBI. And of course, they said they can't do anything because they have to be invited by King County.
yeah, that's the same thing the Attorney General said too. His office said pretty much the same thing. Um, but hopefully, at this point, um, we it's about finding the right person. Now, Jennifer, when she called me back after she talked to you, she sounded like she was hurt about it. So hopefully she's gonna pass it on to the right people to open this up, to have them to reinvestigate it and do the proper things. And I'm wondering what did Sergeant Nelson do with the samples that he taken, because knowing him, if he didn't want to do his job, it's no telling what he done with the samples. So
Well,
that's the question we need
I
to
hope
find out.
it's in evidence.
Evidence room.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully. Um, so that will be something I will be working on tomorrow. Um, Reaching out to um, Sergeant Nelson's supervisor and see if we could get some answers.
Now, I'm gonna let you go. One of the things that I didn't understand, they sent a bag to the funeral home, and this bag was said to be toxic,
A bio bag.
a
Biohazard.
a biohazard bag, and it had what was listed in it and everything. But they kept on saying, "Do y'all want it? Do you all want it?" Well, but then again, on the other hand, some of them was telling us we can't give that to them because it's a biohazard, and they said what they would do with it was burn it. And the last we heard of it is that they burn it. Now, I don't know what we could have done. They would tell us about it. Well, if this was so hazardous and it came in and everything, why didn't they turn that in? And then say what? And we asked them what would happen to it, and they said it would be burned.
Okay. Um,
Something like that. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I just hope and pray that wasn't the test that they actually done. I don't know. I haven't had to experience this personally,
Yeah.
but um, I don't have the answers for those. But what we can do is try to get the answers for it because y'all definitely need the closure on this, and it's definitely it really upset me to hear about the story, and people don't want to do their job.
True.
A job that y'all are paying for because y'all are the taxpayer in that state, in that county, and they still don't want to do their job. So that's the issue I'm having with it, and hopefully we can get some answers for you. Um, I'm actually gonna share this video with some people, and hopefully they can um, be able to get some answers also. So can't guarantee you anything, but I'm gonna do everything I can on my side to help y'all as much as I can to get the word out, and hopefully the right person will see this video and say, you know what, let me get on board, just like I did when I seen the letter that Miss Pat wrote, and then when I listened to her live video, I was like, okay, let me reach out to her because I may not be able to help you much, but I have a platform I can share for you to be able to get the information out there. So, um, anything else y'all want to add? It's up to y'all. I don't have a time limit, so it's whatever y'all want to.
Well, the only other thing I would like for the state of Washington is that when you live in a different county and your body is found in a different county than where you live, the police should have some way of communicating with each other, sharing the information back and forth, being able to investigate together instead of saying, I can't investigate that county, I don't have jurisdiction.
Yeah, on that, unfortunately, whatever county the crime was committed in, they're gonna investigate it in that particular county. Now, then again, the crime could have happened in y'all county, but they will have to have proof that it actually happened there in order
Right.
for both of them to work on it.
And from what after speaking with Jennifer today, uh, even though the the crime was in the city of Seattle, the King County Sheriff Department can't do anything. It had to be done by the Seattle Police.
Okay. And we
And
see
that
how.
doesn't make any sense either, because if you're a city in a county, the county has jurisdiction too.
Yes. Here, if a Dallas County sheriff officer stopped me, even though I'm not in Dallas, I'm in a county though. So, and I was thinking that's how it is everywhere. If you are the sheriff, you over that county. So someone should have looked into it. But we will get some answers because hopefully everyone tuck the number down to the mayor office, and I give it out again. Mayor Jenny Durkin, 206-684-4000. Call her, email her, Jenny.Durkin. That's JENNY DURKAN at Seattle.gov, and also on Twitter, Mayor at Mayor Jenny. Reach out to her. Let's make it known. Let's flood Twitter, her email, and she's also on Facebook. So send her messages. Let's see if we can help this family out. For we can get them some closure, because once again, this could be your family member that is going through this, and you will want closure yourself. So share it, reach out to the mayor, and I'm also reach out to the chief of police tomorrow and find out what's going on with Sergeant Nelson. Find out why he didn't investigate it, why he didn't do his job. I understand Seattle Police is having a lot of issues right now, but you don't throw anything up under the rug just to close the case. So you have to investigate your case. That's the reason why you are with the police department. So that's my input of it. If I find out more information, I will send it to you. Just like when Jennifer called, I said, hey, call Mr. Johnson. He could give you more information than I can. And she said, okay. So I will continue to do that until we get some answers and try to get a closure on this.
Thank you, Curtis.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. You're welcome. You have been listening to Speak On It with Who You With, Kurt Dog. This is the Johnson family. Lisa Johnson was killed earlier this year. The Seattle Police Department did not investigate it. They're trying to get answers. I will put the mayor information on my page for y'all can call her, email her, tweet her, whatever you want to do. She's also on Facebook, I believe it's Mayor Jeannie, or Seattle Mayor. I'm not sure what it is, but look up under my friends and you'll see it on there because I did start following her page. Thank y'all for listening to the show tonight. As always, share it with a friend. I love each and every one of you. Until next time, peace.